programs.
Any bad thing?
What? Hang on. I'm working on putting these things where they belong. Hold on.
Okay.
Headphones, buttons. Let's see.
Gain mostly down.
Hello!
Oh Jesus! My ears. And you
I take it you could hear me then.
And you like it on the circle one, the omnidirectional one.
Uh-huh.
Very exciting. So shall we just jump right in then? As usual?
Yeah.
Okay. Get my thingy and do the blah and da. Here we go. Intro coming soon. Welcome to Curmudgeon's Corner for Saturday, July 20th, 2024. It is just a few seconds before 2 UTC as we're starting to record. I am Sam Minter. Yvonne Bowe is here too. Hello, Yvonne.
Hi.
So our plan, as per usual for the last couple months, is that we have no real plan. We're going to do our first segment with a couple of less newsy things to start with, and then we'll have a segment where Yvonne picks newsy things, and then we'll have a segment where I pick newsy things, and then we'll be done. And I hope we are we need to get back into the swing of being shorter again, Yvonne. Like we've been tending to.
First of all, last week we had to add.
I know. Last week we were already at like nearly 2.5 hours, and then we added nearly an additional half hour on the assassination attempt.
It's my fault that
it would be real news if it was your fault.
Yes, that would be. Well, that would make. I mean, that might make the podcast a lot more popular, but it wasn't me.
I do not recommend that.
And plus, I may be dead.
Yes, true. But we've been routinely over 2 hours again. Our target is 90 minutes to 2 hours, and we've been once again like just yammering on incessantly and never stopping.
It's apparently an innate quality that we have.
It is
curmudgeons or yammers, that kind of a thing.
Yammerer's Corner could be one of our competitors.
Yammers, yes. Indeed, yes.
So, do you have a non-newsy thing you'd like to start with, or another way we could do it this time, because there is a non-politics news story. Like we could do that and then do other newsy stuff. I don't know, like whatever you want.
I was going to mention that on a happy note, Lou Dobbs died.
Oh, on a happy note,
yes,
Lou Dobbs died.
Yes. One less prick on this fucking planet. I mentioned on the Slack that I really hate this entire fucking generation of right-wing assholes. Okay. Because they have made me. I was not like this. I was not one that, even with somebody as such a prick like this would die, would I feel like this? But these guys have made me now just basically be, Lou Dobbs died? Great. You're going to fucking hell, if there is one. Beautiful. Say hi to Stalin for me, will ya? You sack of shit.
Okay. Yes.
So, yeah, I hate these people for that.
I get
and
that.
I'm not one that likes hating people. Yeah. I don't feel good about myself feeling like this. This is not something I'm proud of. But I'm putting it out there simply because I don't want to lie about my feelings about it.
I get that.
You know, but I don't feel good that this is how that this is what these people have made me become.
Well, you know, I mean, along those lines, I mean, we all went last week. We all went through the expected conversation about how it was good that the assassination attempt did not succeed because of all the bad things that could have occurred. Like,
right.
but I will fully admit, I've seen a lot of people online being like, "How can you be that bad a shot? How did he miss? Why couldn't he have hit?" And I admit it's a little bit tempting.
And yes, it is. It is. So yeah, I don't like this about myself, Sam. I don't like what these people have done to us.
Right.
No, I don't like it. So, aside from the fact how these people have impaired my ability to empathize with people, okay, this is
okay.
Yeah, we had a major IT outage, and then I happened to have this evening a major IT outage by one of my biggest customers as well. I don't think it was related to this from CrowdStrike. I'm not sure yet. They haven't root cause analyzed it, but the outage happened where all of a sudden user access started being blocked for everybody for some reason. I don't. Nobody can explain to me why that happened. It's really weird. We people are able to our people are able to restore it pretty quickly, but it was very confusing as to why. I've never seen anything like what the hell happened tonight. And I'm saying it may not be related to this, but we haven't really root cause analyzed it, and I don't know. I don't know what the hell the cause of it was. I just don't know. But I mean, what a fucking cock up of a damn.
So are we going to talk about CrowdStrike?
Yeah. I mean, what a fucking cock up of a software update, man. I mean, I've seen bad software updates cause problems, but the level of this stupidity is many levels above. And the one thing I saw was apparently they're saying that CrowdStrike did this to Linux in April as well. So something with their process is just not working very well when they are testing these product updates. And, we are in an era right now where many applications are moving from a system where, hey, we issue a patch, and then the IT organization or end user is responsible for applying that in some way. Sometimes it used to be with very complex instructions. Sometimes he had to bring down systems, but now we do a lot of hot patching. So basically things are in production and we issue these updates. And well, I mean, when you've got a system like this, it's just such a massive outage. This is crazy. Now,
So back up a little bit. Describe what happened since we're talking about this.
Well, my understanding is that so CrowdStrike is in many computers is deployed as an agent. It's not like an antivirus in the traditional sense, but it's something that monitors what is going on, activity for anomalous activity in order to be able to block it on endpoint devices. Okay, And so
Okay.
they issued some kind of fucking update for Microsoft for Windows users like last night, which basically blocked all these machines. Now I do think that you had to have the machines had to be shut down. It was during boot up. If the machine was running,
but presumably lots of places just have a standard procedure where everything reboots overnight or something, right?
no, they don't.
Eh.
Well,
But if it has to reboot, then why does everything?
It's mostly endpoint. Well, the thing is that the issue wouldn't crop up until you were rebooting, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
They applied the patch, and then if the machine had to reboot, then all of a sudden you're fucked. Because it would block all access to, it just bricked the damn thing. Now, I saw that the method of unbricking it was you could start up the computer in safe mode and delete this one specific file.
Right.
That was deployed, and then restart the computer and it would start up. So that was the solution that I saw that many shared. But the thing is that I was talking to people or places where this was in effect. And my understanding was, I guess that if you hadn't rebooted, then it you weren't impacted immediately. And so you could get an update because they issued another update which fixed the problem.
Right.
But
if you had the problem in the first place, my understanding was to even get it to boot to the point that anything was functional, you had to reboot into safe mode first.
Yeah, yes, correct.
So
you
like
go into safe mode.
So like you couldn't automatically push a fix because it was too busy rebooting itself.
Well, right.
Yeah.
So now I just think that not being an expert in this endpoint protection myself. I know of it because I know that my computer for work does have it deployed. But it just shows the risks that we have with this kind of stuff. Then we have the SolarWinds outage that we had, where there was this massive, or we had a hack with SolarWinds, and with a lot of this distributed patching, you see, I see a lot of people that are resistant to moving to this model because you're forced into updates. And I have seen so many people using applications in this method that, especially if they have interdependencies with more legacy systems, because if you built something from the ground up as a SaaS model, the cloud, usually this isn't a big deal. It's not as big a deal. But many people, you get a lot of these cloud applications, they have so many integrations with other stuff. And one of the problems with any update in SaaS is that many of the updates, you can't reject them. It's not like you can take it, test it, check what the problem is, and then roll it out. No. A day rolls around and the update happens and you don't have any control.
Okay.
And if it breaks something, then you're fucked. And this is kind of like this.
Well,
I saw one example.
I saw one person posting online that said hey, you're an IT manager at a company and this screwed you over. And you're like, well, it's not my fault. It hit everybody. And their response was, well, yeah, but you didn't set up a system that would, test updates on a one box before you released it to everybody and all this kind of stuff.
Not with this stuff. You can't. This bypasses that process. Yes. That's the thing. That's the problem. Now, I do, not speaking. I don't want to speak specifics. Any companies,
of course,
right now. But there are vendors that do provide certain services in order to say, hey, this is the planned patch for in 90 days. Let's say a number.
Okay.
We have a test environment for you that's even on the cloud for you to test it to see whether it'll work, or whether you would have issues with that. So there are some vendors that do provide that. It doesn't seem that CrowdStrike works that way, as far as I can tell. Basically, there's been so much trust, I guess, in their client that it wouldn't do something like this. Now, one of our Slack people mentioned
one of our
that,
Slack people, yes,
one of our Slackers, mentioned that there is a distinct difference between why this is more likely in Windows and Linux versus Mac OS environments.
Okay.
The main reason is that Apple, for better or worse, has far more restrictive access to the base operating system, to the kernel, to the roots parts of the OS. You really can't get
Apple.
there, okay?
Apple has been locking this stuff down more and more over the years.
Yes.
In terms of making things that are, programs are sandboxed ideally.
Right.
There's very limited access. If a program needs to have permission to do something, it asks explicitly, and the user has to say, yes, they can do this. Like, I set up my new computer a few weeks ago, and it seemed like for the first few days, everything I was freaking doing was giving some program permission to something or other. Like, this program can use the camera. This one can use the microphone. This one can access your hard drive. This one can access your documents folder, etc. And on and on and on, because they are making it so that those choices are explicit.
And that's even at that level. I mean,
and you can't accidentally download like some program that's going to screw you over. And like you were about to say, like, there are system level stuffs. There are system level things.
I like it. Right.
That are even more locked down, that require you to like really know what the fuck you're doing if you want to enable it to do it. You have to like jump through hoops and to even get there.
But it's the one thing is that what our Slacker was mentioning was Apple's infuriatingly restrictive attitude towards kernel extensions. Okay, to be specific. Okay, that at the kernel level, they just don't. They're like, no, you're not doing anything there. Okay, you're not doing it. Whereas if you use Linux or any of these other systems, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. Same with iOS, for example, which is extremely restrictive. It's one of the reasons why, so many of the EU try to say, hey, you don't let sideload apps, you don't do this, and all of those reasons are precisely to try to avoid this kind of shit, okay, from happening. And this kind of shit, listen, this happened from what was supposed to be a benevolent actor, not a malicious actor, okay?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Can you fucking imagine?
And they just screwed up.
They just screwed up. I mean, now, that's the thing.
Do we know the details of the screw up they made? Was it just like somebody missed a semicolon in a configuration file or something?
I have no idea. I haven't seen any further details. I have not, but what I was seeing was that somebody was making a joke that it depended on. I think it was the people were talking about. There is this, and I'm not familiar with it. There is this encryption with Microsoft that people use for their to encrypt their hard drives. I think it is BitLocker.
Okay. Yep.
And they were talking that if you use BitLocker, okay, is a Windows security feature that provides encryption for entire volumes. That if you're using BitLocker, you basically have to wipe the damn machine and go back to restore from a backup. That was the one thing that I kept seeing people complaining. CrowdStrike outage. How to fix BSOD on BitLocker-enabled Microsoft Windows PCs and laptops. Apparently, it's their these instructions are far more involved. Well, you got to have your BitLocker key apparently. So if you don't have the key, then you're fucked. Let's start off with that.
Okay, beautiful. So always good.
That's an issue, and it is because you need the BitLocker key in order to be able to go delete the. And it says here that it's a driver. We still have drivers. Well, we have drivers, I know, but they self-install, whatever, whatnot. But it's apparently it says here navigate to the command prompt and this will delete the faulty CrowdStrike driver causing the issue. I mean, what a shit show. But look, this week we also found out that was it this week or was it last week that AT&T breach, the one where they're able to get all our information about all the communications, calls, and text messages that we've sent. Now this is metadata, not the actual text messages. We found out it was another cloud. Okay, so AT&T apparently subscribed to this cloud provider called Snowflake, and apparently the breach happened at Snowflake. And apparently they were able to get a lot more information, more than just the AT&T stuff from Snowflake, apparently. So who the hell knows what other information they were able to get? But apparently Snowflake is a provider for this kind of information for the telecommunications industry and the cloud. And they also got breached. Nice. It's great.
Yes. Beautiful.
Well, somebody went and said, by the way, which I did like the idea, was that hey, if somebody can find in that metadata file Clarence Thomas's phone, and if they could see who he was communicating with, there's a few people that we could look up to see what they were communicating with. It'd be interesting to find out who they've been talking to.
Not that you would advocate anything criminal here.
No. I'm already. The data's already out there.
It's out there.
Just saying.
I imagine there's still some rules about using it. If you got,
is there?
I think, like, if stolen data is just put out there on a public server.
Well, this is the same shit the NSA was getting for years.
Well,
that Snowden was exposing. So, but. Monday felt this week like it was Friday already. That's how long this week has been. I went to Puerto Rico on Monday. I came back on Tuesday. And then my flight arrived. Somebody noticed this, and I just noticed the stat. I've flown from San Juan to Miami 7 times this year. I'm shocked that it's 7 times.
Okay.
All right, so basically like once a month. Okay. Every single time my flight home has been delayed from San Juan. All of them. 7
Good
hours.
on time. Well, at least you weren't trying to fly anywhere today.
At least I wasn't trying to fly anywhere today. Shit. Holy fuck.
I know you started to move on, but did we even talk about all the things that were impacted by this CrowdStrike thing?
No, we didn't, because it was like everything. Like all the airlines, there were like 20 some odd thousand canceled flights today. Okay. I mean, I heard EHR records, the Epic, the EMR, they were down. News organizations, TV stations, right? I mean, it was like everybody. I mean, everything got affected. Now, I must admit, whatever the hell I use, if I hadn't seen the news, I would have struggled to find out that it was down.
I think like my main effect, like our email was down at work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There was but was that related to this? Because I know that there was a separate Azure outage.
I don't know. It was Outlook. It was Microsoft. It was whatever.
Well, now you're doing the same thing. Everybody's bitching. Well, this wasn't Microsoft. Well, yeah, I know it wasn't Microsoft, but it really impacted. everybody with Windows. But there was okay, well, no, that was because there was a separate outage with Azure last night, and right around the same fucking time, of all things.
Nice.
So we had that going on, you know. Somebody was saying that one of the things that you discover with this stuff is New York subways were all running without a problem.
Okay.
Now there weren't automated announcements happening and some other stuff or whatever, but all the trains were running. In part because you know what, that infrastructure is for the most part analog. So I don't give a shit about this crap.
Right.
That didn't impact it. But you know, you got people who couldn't like check into hotels. You can't like, you know, call a doctor and book an appointment. You couldn't.
Well, lots of people had that surgery delayed and such.
Yes, because of freaking massive like electronic health records outage. Yes, I mean, yeah, it's fucked up. If you go to a hospital right now. You go to a hospital right now, okay? You think about all the technology that they have put in place in order to prevent medical mistakes. That right. is, you know, you go and like, you're going to get medicines handed to you. They usually will go around with a computer with a cart, scanning your wristband to say, hey, this is your patient A. This is the medicine for patient A. The computer will tell you, yes, this is the person that should get it. Okay, that person will get that, okay? You're going to go make a surgery. Everything is in the damn computer, so the x-rays, documentation, notes, whatever the hell it is you're going to do, which leg you're going to operate, you know, whatever, all the instructions that they had placed, it's all in there. So you can't go and fucking operate on them. You don't got any of the damn information.
Right. It's not like they can go to the backup paper file.
Right. There's no backup paper file anymore. It's gone.
You could just be like, which kidney did you need removed again?
Right, exactly.
You know, I'll guess.
Yeah, we'll guess. Oh shit. Oh well, that was the wrong one.
So anyway, you also mentioned briefly, like this wasn't even like a cyber warfare act or something. No, it was just somebody screwed something up.
Fuck up.
But I think it shows you like how much damage could be done if it was intentional.
Oh fuck yeah.
Like
imagine. Holy shit.
I mean, and it shows you how easy it would be too. Like presumably there's like one poor ass employee who fucked up here and accidentally like saved something they shouldn't have.
If I'm that fucking employee, I know I'm hiding. I'm fucking like I tell you what, I'm fucking, you know, I mean, I'm finding, I'm like, how do I get the hell, you know, I'll shred my phone and I'll fucking like go hide somewhere for 6 months. I'll claim I was hijacked. I don't know, whatever. I was kidnapped. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see there being a little bit of discussion there, and you know, everybody screws up, and there'll be a post-mortem because, you know, if you have a scenario where a single person fucking up can have this kind of effect, or again, like maybe if a single person being malicious could have this kind of effect, then you don't have the right systematic protections in place. Like in terms of things needing to be double or triple checked before they get released, you know, or the right testing or the whatever. There is a hole in the process that needs to be fixed, and I'm sure they will work on that. But again, it shows like, hey, some poor employee hit send on something that wasn't properly tested and wasn't doing what it was supposed to.
That'll be fine.
And this is what happened. If it had been somebody intentionally trying to inject something malicious, it's
listen. This remind me.
Wide open.
We forget that we've had less incidents of this, but back in like the 2000s, we had viruses like the Melissa virus or some others like this that did spread like widely and cause significant outages. Now we are even more dependent on technology, but we were already pretty heavily dependent on on this stuff already then, and how some of this stuff. And look, I will say this: that you're asking me, well, what am I going to do with that employee I fucked up? Right? Look, I will admit. Listen, I will admit that I had an employee that made a fuck up like this, a technical fuck up, that cost the company $60 million. Okay? About 20 years ago. All right.
I think you've actually told this story before.
Yes. And I will say that I now the reality is that this guy had a history of fuck ups.
And that makes a difference.
And that made a difference because that wouldn't happen. And I found out about it. And he was on a business trip. And I basically said, listen, dude, pack your bags, go home. You're going to HR. You're getting your termination. You're done. Okay. Because, but that was the last straw of something.
Yeah. I mean,
so I will say that
most generally, if you have somebody make a screw up that causes a major production problem, I mean, obviously this one was huge, but like, there are a couple factors at play, right? Like one is, did they do something that was actually directly negligent and bad? Or
in the case of my guy, yes.
Yeah. Or was it a process failure? Like there was something in place that that should have stopped it. Or
this guy actually, in my case,
I don't care.
But to give you an example, that guy negligent. This guy overrode the process. So if you find out that this guy went and I'm overriding the process. Fuck this. This update's going out. Well, then you know what? This guy is toast.
Yeah. No. There are several different scenarios here. One is they were intentionally trying to fuck with stuff. In that case, not only is he fired, you're reporting him to authorities. He's going to fucking jail.
Oh yeah.
The second is he screwed up, but was generally following the specified processes, and something that should have caught the problem failed. Right. In which case, it's a process problem, not that guy's fault. I mean, maybe that guy could have been more careful, but you should have had the protections in place.
Correct.
And then I guess third is, the guy actively bypass some processes, like you said, that he was supposed to follow. And then it's absolutely the guy's fault. And they're out of there,
Of course, we also got a couple of astronauts stuck in space.
Oh, yeah, that. Actually, like you had started
another technical glitch.
You had started to change topics onto something else, and I veered you right back to CrowdStrike. So I don't know if you remember the other thing or whether you just want to jump to astronauts.
No. Just want to jump to astronauts. So we still got a couple of astronauts stuck in space, huh?
Yeah, we do. And so they've been saying over and over. So this is the Boeing, what is it, Starliner?
The Starliner, yeah.
And it's had some problems with its thrusters. And so these problems were detected. It did not get in the way of them getting there, but they had to take some extra steps. They did some testing of it before they docked to the space station. They had to do some things manually to compensate for. Anyway, but when they got there, the story that they've been giving for a long time is there's absolutely no issue with them getting home. But because the part of the spacecraft that is malfunctioning gets jettisoned and burned up in the atmosphere on the return trip, their only time to investigate the problem is now at the space station. So the astronauts have been actually disassembling and investigating these thrusters and reassembling them while they're there, trying to figure out and diagnose the problem and deal with it. And as I understand it at the moment, but the latest update I heard, and maybe there's something more recent, but as of a few days ago, Boeing was for the first time admitting that maybe they haven't decided this for sure yet, but maybe they might have to take a different spacecraft home.
God, hell, man. Go Boeing. What's wrong, man? Guys, come on, man. Give me a break. anything right. Like,
well, because I was like, presumably, like, yes, they jettisoned this part of the spacecraft, but presumably, I mean, these are the thrusters. Presumably, they need them to make sure that the spacecraft is oriented properly for reentry.
I would assume.
So, like, it was kind of important that they work correctly.
So I would believe.
I mean, I know they have some redundancy and some this and some that and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, and all the astronauts were expressing high levels of confidence that, of course, we're going to return on a spaceship and it'll all be fine. We just have to investigate this before we go.
I guess, I wonder how many days were they supposed to be up there? 8 days?
Something like that, like around a week.
How long have you been there now?
Nearly a month.
Oh,
I'd have to look it up for an exact number of days, but it's
God, yeah, it's getting to be a long time. Let's see, what was let's see, when does it say they went? Who knows? I don't know. It's not that important.
No,
I can't. Yeah. So anyway, but we've got more people in space. Given what's the hell's going on down here, I mean, maybe that's a good option. We could go to the ISS.
Yeah. Well, one of the science communicators that I see on TikTok all the time is all excited because apparently she's going up in Bezos' spaceship soon.
Well, that's nice.
That's nice. Yes.
Yeah.
I forget her name. I think it's Space Gal or something. I don't know.
Blue Origin.
And of course my immediate reaction is, that's not really space, right? It's just,
well,
I guess it's closer than I've been, but
right. Well, it's technically space. I mean,
well, no, it depends on the definition. By most definitions, it's a little short.
It's right around. It's close enough.
I figure, come on, you need at least an orbit, not this up and down shit.
I mean, okay.
I mean, no, I understand. You go up high enough, the sky looks black. You get a few moments of zero G, but right. you can get the zero G in the vomit comet too.
Right. You can do that.
There are all kinds of ways. I would like to
do that.
The vomit comet.
Yeah. I would like to do that one. Yeah.
That's a lot. You can buy tickets on that. It's a lot cheaper than like the Blue Origin or the Virgin Galactic and all those things. Yeah.
I would like to try that. That would be cool to do once. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you do that, feel free to bankroll me. We'll do the show live from the vomit comet.
That would be. There you go. There you go. Curmudgeon's Corner from zero G. Yes.
Exactly. Okay. We've gone on quite a bit already, so I feel like I should skip my movie and we should move on. In the lines of like keeping the show under 2 hours this week.
Okay, we could skip a movie for this week, but the next week
I will preview the next week.
Yeah,
next week's
you
movie
will start with a movie. Yes,
and the movie will be The Grapes of Wrath from 1940.
Oh wow! Really?
Yes.
I don't think I'm pretty sure I haven't watched it.
Well, you could do homework and watch this before next week, and then we could both talk about it.
I could try that.
There you go. Okay, well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we will do actual newsy stuff. And I know you guys know, and I know you guys know the kind of hold on. And I know you guys know the kinds of things we might be talking about. We had the Trump assassination attempt. I guess we can follow up on that. We've learned a lot since last week. We've got Cannon dismissed Trump's Florida case. We've got Trump picking D. Vance as his vice president. We've got the RNC. We've got the whole battle about will Joe drop out or not, and all the pressure being brought on him, and what happens if he does drop out, and all the alternatives and blah, blah, blah. We've got general, how the polling's going and all that shit. We got. And I mentioned the RNC specifically. We have Trump's incoherent speech there. We've got all the other stuff. We got Hulk Hogan. Anyway, we got all kinds of stuff. But first, the break is an Apple Dream. So here we go.
Cool.
This is Apple Dream 20.
Okay.
There was some sort of space battle thing, and I was in it. Except I had to keep changing my time zone, like Alex and I do on Wordle. Like, to be on the same game as him, I had to change the time zone from UTC, where I normally keep things, to Pacific time, and then if we miss a day, we have to make it the previous day, and then we go forward again. And somehow, in the space battle, it was like that too. And that's all I remember.
And that's it. That's it.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Having to change your time zone in the space battle, So
that's great.
I haven't published any new ones of those in many months now. But maybe so. I've got a backlog of them recorded on my phone that I haven't published in TikTok yet. But anyway, so where do you want to start from all that crap I listed, or something else entirely if I missed something important?
Well, you were talking a little. Look, I'm going to come out flat out and say I hate all these subjects.
They all make you mad.
They all just. I spoke about how these people have changed my mood. All the subjects of discussion just aggravate me at this moment. I'll
say one thing on that before you continue. I got so pissed off this week on how people on all of this pressure on Joe Biden to drop out. Like whether or not you think that switching at this point would be smart and would be the best way to win, which I personally am not sure that it is, but regardless, the way this is all playing out is just really, really made me angry, to the point where I gave Joe Biden more than I've ever given any political candidate in my life, other than money where we've self-funded my wife's campaign. But other than that, like I just gave. I mean, I have not been one to routinely give to political candidates or political campaigns or PACs or anything else like that. I had a few recurring donations, small dollar recurring donations, like $10 or $20 a month to a few things. But like, I was like, okay, I'll set up a recurring donation from now until the election to Joe Biden, and with amounts that I normally would never have thought of giving to a political candidate, because I was just so pissed. I'm like, and some of the reports were like how Joe Biden's funding had dried up and no one was giving him money anymore. And I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm giving him money. Like, at the moment I can afford it, I'm giving him some money. So
basically, your mood is sour. My mood is sour. My mood was sour. Forget about, the thing that really like hit me. Okay, is, I did not watch. I mean, maybe some short, like, second clips for a few seconds of the RNC, but I am not. I did not watch it, but I saw some of the.
I did not watch almost any of it. I listened to some of Biden. Yeah, I listened to some of Trump's. See, like the name thing. Like, I can't even keep Biden and Trump apart.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
So I understand Joe confusing Kamala and Trump, because I just confused Biden with Trump. Anyway,
because it's the word president in front.
I know.
It's not the most uncommon faux pas. Okay, all right. That happens. Which is
anyway. I listened to a few minutes of Trump. I did not watch any of it. I listened to a little bit Yeah, go
I
ahead.
mean, but in between the RNC gets together, and and they have these speakers where it's a whole bunch of like, listen, drunk people, convicts, uh, 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 you know,
Domestic abusers.
domestic abusers, porn stars. I'm just like, what the hell is this, man?
It's the party
What
of
the
Reagan, man.
fuck is this?
The party of
I
Reagan.
mean, listen, Matt
And
Gates's
Lincoln. And Lincoln.
Matt Gates's face. What the fuck happened to that guy's face?
Oh, and somebody pointed out they did a before and after picture of just the day before. It happened within 24 hours. It wasn't like he went and had plastic surgery.
Now,
they were saying it was Botox, probably.
Well, what I read that somebody did analysis. Apparently, the Botox takes a number of days. He must have really gotten a really big ass,
like a rush job.
A number of them, and it just all popped in the same day.
Beautiful.
But holy fucking hell! I mean, it's just a fucking degenerates convention, man. And then, the video clips of them on the floor acting like like high schoolers.
Well, just to be fair, political conventions, if you look at the people on the floor, both Democratic and Republican, are always a little nutso. You have people in the weird hats.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what's his name, the guy that was Speaker of the House who lost.
Ryan?
Bonnier? No,
McCarthy?
Not Ryan. McCarthy. McCarthy and Matt Gaetz, bombing him like he's some 15-year-old. And then Gaetz screaming these insults, and then other people, and just, man, come on. The guy before Trump came on was fucking a drunk Hulk Hogan.
I did not watch it, so I didn't realize he was drunk. I saw he ripped off his shirt or whatever.
Yeah, well, of one of the few clips that I listened to is one of him speaking, and he was slurring drunk as all fuck.
Nice.
So, I mean, what the hell, man? And then all these people, I'm sorry, but all the people with the little ear pillows.
Yes. Out of
who does this shit, man?
Well, they're paying homage to Donald Trump's injury.
Who does this shit?
Republicans.
That it's
MAGA Republicans.
Listen,
specifically.
Here's the thing about how fucked up this week is. By today, the news that they tried to assassinate Trump basically was like, who cares?
Well, he did live.
Right. And so let's see. If
I imagine the entire last week would have played out entirely differently if Donald Trump had not lived, or if he was in the hospital in critical condition or something. Look, it would have been absolute chaos.
I do think that if it was somebody, if it had been another time,
right,
and they had tried to assassinate the president, there would have been a lot more intense interest and coverage in it, right now. And right now, it's basically old news, by now.
Well, if you think back, the only time that I directly remember, is the Reagan attempt. but it
Yeah,
was
but they
different
did.
because
he was shot.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, well,
and not just
so
that.
was so was Donald Trump, but Reagan was serious enough that he was in the hospital.
No, but no, exactly. I mean, but we didn't know if he was going to make it.
Right.
We didn't know if Reagan was going to make it.
We didn't know if he was going to make it, and even after it was clear he was going to make it, it was a long recovery. It was months until he was sort of back in shape. And some people argue he never got back to the point he was before the gunshot. And so, yeah, but look here, some people are still trying to say right now that, oh, it wasn't a gunshot wound at all. It was just some glass that from the teleprompter or something. The teleprompter looked like it was intact to me on the video, but whatever. I don't know. Because they're also, one of the things I was going to bring up is all these conspiracy theories surrounding the assassination attempt. One of them is what I just mentioned. Oh, he wasn't actually shot. Trump is obviously lying. He won't release any medical records. He won't do anything like that. So he obviously wasn't actually shot. It was just a little bit of glass from the teleprompter. And while we're doing that, maybe it was all just a setup because he wanted the sympathy. I mean, after all, look how he posed for the hero shot before he left instead of just getting whisked out right away and blah blah blah.
Well, I have said, and I will say that was one of the most bizarre reactions I've ever seen by anybody to get shot. And by the way, the reality is that Trump being so empathetic and so kind, he quickly went and tried to deploy his sympathies to the family of the person that actually got killed. Or no, that's right. No, that wasn't it. That was Biden that tried to do it. They didn't take his call because they were I guess they were really MAGA people. But it seems that the only reason why
specifically the wife said that she thought her husband would not appreciate her taking that call because he was so MAGA and so anti-Democrat. It sounded like on her own she might have, but she was trying to respect her husband. Whatever. Donald Trump did eventually get in contact with them, apparently.
Yeah, but come on. The only reason... Why do you think... The only reason why he wound up calling is because he wound up being shamed into it. That's it.
No, I think it was because he wanted to talk about it at his convention speech. He called all the families the day before the speech.
Okay. Here is... Okay. You did not read Mary Trump's book.
You're right. I have heard your summary of Mary Trump's book.
Yeah, well, there is one thing that Mary Trump talked about is that that's in that family, and Trump specifically, is that anything related to death, he avoided like the plague. There is no way that he really wanted to call these people. The only reason that he wound up calling them is because he was shamed into it because Biden went and made a sympathy call to them, because otherwise there's no way he would have.
Also, I think it's also operational. Yes, he was shamed into it, but also it's operational. He knew it would be useful politically to have made the call and be able to talk about the call speech. I think that has part of it.
But that's what I'm saying. If the RNC wasn't this week, he wouldn't have called.
Probably not. I mean, even so, he said he was going to attend the funeral and he didn't.
Oh, what? Well, that's another part, dude. No attending to funerals either. I mean, yeah, that's also a trait.
So let's talk a little bit, since our first, your topic is apparently, whether you intended it or not, it's the RNC. So
yes, I did intend it to be the RNC, and I'm just I don't know. Look, I mean, it's a meeting of degenerates and sociopaths, man, and liars. The whole grinder thing too that happened during the week.
So explain.
Well, apparently, Grindr was overloaded in Milwaukee.
Grindr, which is a gay hookup,
app.
It's basically the equivalent of You know,
I don't think there is an equivalent because in part, like because the thing is that data has shown that homosexual hookups are far more frequent and casual than say lesbian or cisgender hookups. I mean, that's just
although there's a whole spectrum of dating apps, some of which are more about dating, and some of which are more about hooking up.
No. So you've got what the hell is it? Man, the
Tinder.
Tinder. Well, the thing is that so Tinder is more like what you would call it, heterosexual relationships for the most part, as far as I remember. But it's just this thing where
you're not on it every day, Yvonne?
No, I probably listen. I will admit that if I was single, probably I would be. Okay,
yeah,
I'm sure that I would be on.
Well,
I'm pretty sure if I were single now, I would be on Tinder.
At this point, online dating apps of various sorts are the normal, most common way for people to meet each other.
80-90%. I was like, it's crazy.
Way bigger. Yeah, way bigger. Like back in the day when we were younger, it was things like you were introduced by friends. You met at school. You met at work. Maybe you met at a bar or something. But like it was all those kinds of. Now it's like you said, 80-90% online apps.
So yeah, I'm sure that I most probably would be on Tinder. I mean, for sure. But I'm like, what? But the thing is that this isn't this.
So Grindr is the gay version.
This is the party of anti-LGBT, anti-whatever. The family values. We need to go back to the core family values, and basically so many of them logged on to Grindr that they basically grounded to a halt.
And apparently this is an every 4 years thing. Every Republican convention this happens. Yeah. And they run the numbers, and they do geolocation and everything. And like the majority of there are all kinds of new accounts that are set up, new anonymous accounts set up that week that get geolocated within the arena where they're having the RNC. And when you run the numbers, it's like nearly 10% of the attendees at the RNC are apparently spending their time on Grindr as well.
It's just the hypocrisy of it.
Right. No problem with Grindr. Have fun.
No, have fun. But it's just the whole hypocrisy. They go and they vilify transgender people, gay people, every fucking chance they get. And these fuckers are just all I don't know. I guess it's their way of dealing with how they're repressing their sexuality. I guess that they do it by displaying outward hate.
Yeah, it's
despicable. It's disgusting. It pisses me off.
Well, just in general. You got to remember, people calling these folks out for hypocrisy for various things. It's not about being consistent with some set of moral views. It's about power and control.
Right. Yeah.
And it's about you being in charge and you telling what other people are allowed to do or not do. But you, especially if you're an apex white male, should be able to do whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
So anyway, how about Donald Trump's speech? I know you didn't watch it. And I mentioned I listened to parts of it, but I didn't watch it either.
I think that the epitome of the stupidity of the news coverage of today is summarized by a series of tweets by Nate Silver.
Okay.
Like a dumb fucking moron that he is, he starts off by saying, "Oh, look, he's looking presidential," and I'm thinking, how could you be so dumb? And then he cries, "Well, this doesn't sound that good. This is kind of dark." Then at the end, "Well, I completely retracted. This thing is a shit show," and I'm like, you dumb motherfucker. What the hell did he expect? How could any of these clowns
Well,
go
all week long,
and say, "Oh, he's gonna be a unifier. He's gonna be presidential." Blah 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 blah. What the Sam?
which
what
we were
is
hearing
this
all week long. All week long, we were hearing from people. Oh, the near-death experience has changed him. He's mellowed. He's torn up his speech. He wants to be a unifier. He wants to like reach out to everybody. Blah blah blah. And of course not. Of course not. You know. And look, the speech.
Here's the best line.
Yes.
Here's the best line I just see about this. Donald Trump promised a softer image. He delivered Hulkamania.
Well, look, the speech itself, like there were a few phases of it, and I listened to some of these directly, and some of them I'm basing on commentary. But here's the thing: the first part of his speech was him relating what happened in the assassination attempt, and for that, he was mostly going from a prepared speech. He talked some of the unified language, although even there, like he said some words about the whole country unifying, but really what they were talking about was unifying the Republicans in their fealty to him. But whatever. But that part of the speech was really mellow, really slow. He did sound a little melancholy, blah, blah, blah. And he was going from the prepared speech. Then he seemed to somewhat get bored of that. And he started going off script. Another a bunch of people pointed out, but I'll point out Joy Ann Reid from MSNBC, but her commentary on Threads was really good as this was going on. Because basically they had provided a prepared speech. After the recounting of the assassination attempt was over, he sort of started ignoring most of the prepared speech. Like, well, I shouldn't say ignoring. He would get to a point at the prepared speech, and then he would go off on a tangent for several minutes, and then he'd go back to it for a little while. So, basically more than half of the words he actually said were not part of the prepared speech in the end. And so,
which is why I guess it went. I think they said
it was the longest. It was the longest convention acceptance speech since convention speeches have been televised.
No shit, really? It was,
Yes.
Wow.
Now I don't know if it beat Bill Clinton because that wasn't an acceptance speech. He was introducing the guy. Because that wasn't when Bill Clinton was running. It was
no. That was like That was like Bill Clinton like doing this speech like I guess it was. Was it right? It was. It
was like 4 years before the year that he was. So it would have been 88.
Was that the speech? Yeah, no, I know it was in 88. But the question is that the speech was the presenting Dukakis?
No, he was the keynote. So. He was the keynote speech like the day before or something.
Yeah, it was the day before. Yeah, this was, look, that's a moment I never forget because the funniest thing is I remember how the speech was so long-winded. I mean, this is never ending, and I still remember that when he went to and saying in conclusion, I'm finishing. Everybody started going, "Oh my god!"
Well, and I was waiting. When Donald Trump said in conclusion, I was like, wait, is there going to be applause? There wasn't, at least not that I could hear. But like I expected it. And the reports from the people in the place were, okay, I sort of, let me back up. We'll get to the end of the speech. He started doing his normal sort of campaign rally stuff. He started doing his, rants against Joe Biden. He started doing all of his usual sort of divisive stuff. He started ranting about the last election and how it was stolen from him, all that. And it certainly was not unifying rhetoric. But one thing it was it wasn't really that energetic. It was all very sort of and it was sort of much more monotone than he has been sometimes in the past, and sort of, to use Donald Trump's own words, low energy. And so there were a lot of reports from the place that, the people in the front rows were like checking their phones. There were some that were nodding off. There were some that were like,
Donald Trump seems to have been nodding off when his kids. I mean, you put those clowns, his kids, to give speeches. You're nodding off at those guys.
Well, yes, but like the point is, Donald Trump. First of all, it was low energy. Second of all, there was his sort of usual like stuff that we mentioned, but also just the rambling incoherence, which has also been normal at his rallies lately. To be clear. I mean, he did the whole Hannibal Lecter rant, as part of his speech. He like he would just go on meandering stream of consciousness, blah, blah, blah. And so one of the things Joanne Reed was saying was like, look, the one thing this shows us is, look, Joe Biden might be old, but God damn it, so is Trump. And he's clearly not in the same place in terms of his mental capacity as he was even 4 years ago, let alone 8. He is declining, and maybe it's not, technically like, clinical at this point, but it's definitely a decline is visible and obvious. And it's like, yeah, this is your ranting old uncle who's just like, he's finished his turkey at the Thanksgiving table and he's kicking his feet back and he's giving his little racist rants. That's Donald Trump.
Racist rants. Oh.
Like, wait,
yeah.
doesn't your uncle do that?
Yeah.
I always hear that it's uncles that do that.
Like, yeah, the uncles. Well, unfortunately, my uncles all passed away.
I have one uncle left, but I don't think he does racist rants.
I have like my aunts, uncles, like blood uncles. Like I have one that is like alive, but they're by marriage. Okay, but yes. My blood. Oh wait, what am I talking about? No, Jesus Christ, no, my dad's brother's alive. But
so you do have an uncle.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Jesus,
you killed him off early.
Yes, sorry, that's the alarm okay, that's what I get. Okay, I killed off my uncle early, but I have, he'll make off-color jokes, but not go. Actually, he's not racist. He may have a lot of other defects, but not that I can tell that racism is not one of them. Thank God. Okay. So yeah. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'll give him a compliment. He's actually very, how do I say, more inclusive than anything else. That he's not. Yeah.
So anyway, a lot of people are pointing out the double standard of like, if Joe Biden had come out and given this same speech,
oh my God,
everybody would be doubling down on the, oh my God, how can you possibly be thinking about this old incompetent guy for anything? And of course,
well,
the Democrats have a multi-week shit fit about Joe Biden. And like on the Republican side, nobody's going to say a damn thing. And the media, like, yeah, might be a few comments about it. I mean, hey, I'm quoting somebody from MSNBC who is talking about it. But for the most part, you're not going to get pages and pages and days of analysis of how Donald Trump failed at his speech and how it indicates that he should drop out, whatever. I mean, of course, he is now the official nominee, which Joe Biden is not yet, but.
Well, it appears I'm looking at this information. So this speech was 90 minutes, correct?
Yes, about plus or minus.
I mean, we kept talking about how long that Clinton speech is, and we remember it. As far as I can tell from the information I'm looking at here, it was only 36 minutes, and that seemed like an eternity. Shit. I mean, it's literally double more than double the time that Clinton spoke, and we were like dying by how long that damn Clinton speech lasted.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, and Clinton's speech was probably actually coherent as well, and not full of lies.
yeah. It was just a little boring, but and apparently he wasn't using a teleprompter, which that was like the one thing about him. And I am remembering this, that apparently they had to resort to like hand signs to him to say, "Hey, going like this, like cut it, the slicing like a neck. You're done, and
Yes.
that kind of stuff for him to finish." So yeah. So
Okay, and yeah, and I guess like the other, you mentioned the cast of characters they had up. I mean, just as one example, I mean, you mentioned like a bunch of random types, but Navarro got out of jail, got on a plane, and then got off the plane and spoke at the convention. It's like, and there were so many people like completely unaware of any ironies, talking about how they're the law and order party, and it's so important like to respect the police and put criminals in jail and all this kind of stuff. And what? Like,
yeah,
look who you're nominating.
right.
Of course, that's just a witch hunt, and it's all bullshit and blah blah blah, and
Look, this I was reading a little bit about because I haven't read this idiotic book by J.D. Vance.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But I was reading a little bit about what it talked about in the book.
Did you read the bit about what he did with the glove and the couch?
No. But I was reading the one.
So you know what I'm talking about, though.
No,
right?
I have no idea. What are you referring to?
Oh, in our Republican candidate for vice president includes an anecdote in his book about his life, how when he was younger, and I mean, which of us haven't? Let's put it in an extremely delicate way.
Yeah.
He stuck an inside-out glove into the crease between couch cushions and fucked it.
Okay.
Which I mean, book? Okay. He wrote about it in the book.
Right, we've all done dumb things
exactly
at that age. Okay, but that wasn't a book.
Yeah, he put that in his book. It's in Hillbilly Elegy.
Okay.
When he's talking about his youth.
Well, too much.
I mean, it's not quite killing a dog.
No, it's not. It's not even remotely close. It's just too much information, JD. Okay, all right.
It's just too much information, really... and again, goes with the squeaky clean image, right? And like all of the puritanical right wing stuff. Right. Like in a properly sex positive culture, you could be like, well, of course, every kid should do that. But
yeah, I mean, it's like I was having those discussions with a
friend
of mine or whatever about just making sure that any conversation we have with our child, her child is about about that kind of stuff. It's not to make him shit. Look, it's fine. Whatever you're doing, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We're not
as long as you're not hurting anybody.
Exactly. So you're hurting anybody. You could
even who was it? Who was it? Was it Blair with the pig?
What?
The British Prime Minister? Or was it Cameron? I think it was Cameron. Who has
Okay, you're paying a lot more attention to this than I am. What did they do?
It was a fraternity initiation ritual or something where he had to have oral sex with the severed head of a dead pig.
Okay. This is the reason why I never joined any fraternities.
Okay, sorry. As you said, I've apparently paid way too much attention to these types of stories.
Going back to the J.D. Vance book, and
yes.
The one thing that it goes with this whole thing about also crime. It's this whole thing where he was talking about how he's getting really, really angry when he was working as a cashier, and he saw people paying with food stamps or food assistance and whatever that had cell phones, and how that made him angry for some reason.
Okay.
And it's this whole thing where it's, any benefit. It's this whole thing that you see regularly in many of these red states where they are all like, well, the benefits, as long as they're mine, I'm entitled to them, but not those people. Not them, but I earned those. Okay. And it's the same thing with crime and law enforcement. Yeah. They're the criminals, but no, but no, those laws, none of that applies to us. And it's just this entire bankrupt morality where, you believe that everybody. I've seen this with other people where the people that are really the worst crooks are the first ones that say that everybody else is crooked.
Right. Well, it's all projection, right?
It's like all projection. Yeah.
The people whose morals are corrupted in the way, like, for instance, Donald Trump's clearly are.
Yeah.
Can't imagine that anybody would operate differently. Like the idea, for instance, that somebody might actually do something motivated by helping someone else rather than for their own aggrandizement is completely alien. That's somebody being stupid. Why would you do that, for instance? Yeah. And so, of course, everything anybody else possibly does has to be motivated by the same things that would motivate them. And there can't possibly be another reason for people's actions. And of course, if somebody has an opportunity to screw you, they will. There's no way that they would not take that opportunity if given it, because you would take that opportunity, wouldn't you? Like, etc. So, So back to Vance. Sorry, I tangented again.
No, so it's this whole thing about Vance where, he goes and that's just a bit what he wrote in the book really epitomizes his entire attitude from all these people that are in part of MAGA and this entire attitude towards law enforcement. It's everybody else is a criminal, but I'm against me it's a witch hunt. It's that entire mentality. But the other thing that I saw today, and how this entire thing is like making, I spoke a little bit about the behavior that Matt Gaetz was showing against McCarthy and some other stuff and whatever, and sniping in between all of these people. But one thing that I saw was there was this quote that this clown JD Vance had written about Trump, where basically he said that I'll never vote for this guy, that he's just he talked about he was a Hitler. Okay, he referred to him.
Well, and he said he wasn't sure if Donald Trump was XYZ or if Donald Trump was America's Hitler was the
and so but then Tucker Carlson also spoke at this convention. Okay, all right, praising Trump. Okay,
right,
and I will quote Tucker Carlson by text, okay, from the trial against Fox News by Dominion, where he goes and is praising him, and he sent the text on January 4th, 2021. We are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait. I hate him passionately. I can't handle much more of this. And how it's this entire, bunch of suck-ups, man, that have publicly, said that this guy is evil, but now are all just under his thumb. And
I mean, we're basically talking like, at this point, the people who are left in the Republican Party at the elected levels anyway, I'll reserve judgment for the moment for the general voters, but divide into two categories at this point. One is true MAGA believers who actually believe all this bullshit. I guess there are three. There's true MAGA believers who actually believe all this bullshit. Then there are people who don't really believe it, but are going to pretend for the purposes of manipulating and getting ahead. And I guess a subset of that category, my third category is really a subset of that, are people who used to say exactly like you were. They're sort of the old traditional Republicans who had all the sort of traditional Republican beliefs and were anti-Trump at some point, and then just decided, well, I can't do that and still have my career, and my career matters more. And so now I'm all on board, wherever it takes me. And I actually, all three of these categories suck, but like, I feel like I almost have the least respect for that last category. Because they know better. Because they've said so out loud in public and then completely reversed themselves because of that's what it takes to maintain power.
And then you have all these other tech bros that have come out all in favor of, and all these guys are interested. This is all about grift and money. I mean,
yes.
These guys all want fucking oligarchy, man. They really, really, really want an oligarchy. I mean, that is what they want.
As if it already isn't close enough to that already. I mean, like if you're already a billionaire, you've got so much influence and you can do whatever the fuck you want, and they want more.
They want more. That's it. I mean, listen, they do want more. They want a lot more. They want this to be more like Russia. Let's be clear about this. That is the model that they want. Where Putin picks the winners and losers. Putin picks who makes the money, and those people get supremely rewarded, and the other people get punished.
Mm-hmm.
That is what they want. They would love that model exactly.
As long as whoever's making those decisions has them in their favor.
Exactly, correct. Yes. That is the model that they want. One of the data points that came out this year is that over the last this recently, we've had better statistics under Biden at increasing middle to low earners' wages, and one of the biggest narrowings of income inequality that we've had in like 30 plus years. Okay?
Right.
And we've had an economy that is really booming, that the rich people are making a lot of money.
Right.
And these fuckers still don't think that's enough.
Well, and also they don't like that the lower income people are also getting stuff.
That's right. They want serfdom. They want them to get nothing.
Right. Like, God forbid the person at the fast food restaurant makes a little bit more money.
Oh, that fucker. Loser. I mean, they're all losers. They really think that all these people are losers. And by the way, that was part of fucking JD Vance's book bullshit thing.
Yeah, apparently, like from reviews I've heard of it in the last week, like, so, I mean, the reputation it had at the time, and I'm sure it's on my list of books to read someday, was that it was sort of an explainer for what were Trump supporters thinking, get into the mind of the white working class, and it sort of was one of these things that people were reading after Donald Trump won to try to understand what the appeal was and stuff. But apparently, like from what I've heard in the last week, a lot of the book is him dumping on the people who grew up that way. That like he grew up in that background and then escaped it and became like a Wall Street financier, and then was involved in all kinds of tech companies.
He went to Yale.
He went to Yale.
He went to fucking Yale. His wife is an attorney. She's of Indian descent.
Right.
And well, I by the way, this is something that I saw today. One of these things that, by the way, who
There
the
were
hell knows
people.
what the effect of this?
There were people at the convention talking about what kind of guy is this really? Because look, he has brown children with Indian names.
Listen, Nick Fuentes, who, if I remember
Yes.
correctly, he's some kind of like one of these psychopath
Yeah.
right-wing lunatics. Okay, his take was, I'm not leaving my house to vote. Vote for what? For JD Vance and Usha. I'm not voting for this. I'm not lending my credibility to this. And you understand what this means.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, this guy married a non-white woman. I mean, what the fuck?
Anyway,
welcome to
big
our
surprise. They're all
2024.
Yeah. So, anything else to say about the RNC before
yes,
we take a break, and then we'll do Biden?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fuck the RNC. Fuck the GOP. Fuck everybody that was there. Fuck them all. I hate them all. They can all go fuck themselves in hell.
Okay. I have no idea what you really think, because you're very subdued and not
Yeah, I really keep
but
my feelings inside.
Yeah, you do. So let's take a break, and then we come back. When we come back, we'll do the whole Joe Biden thing. Yeah, because that's the other big news of the week. It has not gone away. Back after this.
What?
No, that was bad. Oh, no, that was bad too. No, I don't like that either. Once upon a rainbow, you were on the floor, eating the bugs that you found upon my face. No, that's what? Bye. Okay, we're back.
Was I clear on my feelings on
No, not at all. I was confused. I think you're advocating to vote for Donald Trump, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Joe Biden. When we last left this a week ago, it seemed like things were kind of dying down, and there was an expected sort of dam breaking last week that didn't happen, and I did it again. Donald Trump, no, Joe Biden. They look the same. They sound the same. They're nearly identical twins.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to tell them apart? Anyway, Joe Biden and his team were doubling down on saying he's not going anywhere. There were reports that there were a bunch of congressional Democrats who were sad about this, but were starting to resign themselves to it. And then another wave of this stuff happened over the weekend, eclipsed by the Donald Trump assassination attempt. Schumer and Jeffries apparently came to came to Joe Biden. What
Listen, I got to talk to your employer, because we got to put you on disability for this mental acuity that has declined completely, where you cannot
man, woman, camera,
pencil,
yeah,
pen,
whatever. I can. I may or may not be able to properly identify the elephant in a lineup. Anyway, oh, God forbid if they ask me who's currently president.
Fuck yeah! Well,
I'm screwed. Anyway, they went to Joe Biden and apparently laid it out for him. They showed him a bunch of polls. They're like, "Look, Joe, this isn't working. You got to get out." Essentially, there's been no denial from their teams that they went and said that. There also apparently there were reports about Obama saying similar things. There were reports about, and there were a whole bunch of additional congressional people have come out. Even in the 24 hours before we're recording this, there were like another 10, including several senators, several representatives, saying Biden should leave. There were reports over the course of the week that Biden is softening and starting to consider it and starting to realize that maybe he doesn't have a path. And then his team denies that over and over and over again and says, don't believe who you're listening to. There were reports that said Joe Biden may step out of the race as early as this coming weekend. Now, obviously, if that happens, I'll say something at the beginning of the show if it happens before I put this out. But
I'm going to say that here's the one weird thing that I have noticed.
Yes.
Okay. I all of a sudden, I had been getting quite a lot of like posts. Here's the one thing. I was going to say that I've noticed that I've seen a decrease in the posts that I've been seeing by Joe Biden for the campaign, and I've been seeing a big surge in Kamala Harris posts. But
yes.
I do recall that over the weekend, after the assassination attempt on Trump, they had said that they were suspending a whole bunch of their posts. And then Biden also
They did for
COVID.
a few days. Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Biden got COVID. Yeah, we hadn't mentioned that.
And then Biden got COVID. And so I am now realizing that they may have been part of why the hell I'm seeing far more Kamala Harris.
She's doing all the duties while he is holed up in Delaware recuperating.
Exactly.
But like all of these reports, here's the thing. It is really, really hard at this point to tell sort of what's really going on versus how various people are trying to spin it. Like everything seems to be part of the pressure campaign to get Joe Biden to say he's dropping out. I mean, everything going back to like Pelosi saying he's still got time to make his decision after he'd already said he'd made his damn decision. So it's clearly like all of these people saying he has time to make his decision are really saying he has time to say he's going to drop out. Like they don't want him to, they don't want to accept his answer that he's already given over and over and over again.
And you know what, the person today that, because I think I had been like a little bit on the point of, look, Joe Biden's my guy.
Right.
But I'm like, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. Even before this, say, even if like Biden had died last month, look, I'm voting for. Listen, if Biden's corpse was on the top of the ballot in November, I was voting for that. Okay,
yeah.
So it's not like this really changes my stance on who the hell I'm fucking voting for. But I had been like, well, look, if Biden decides, what I had thought, look, if Biden looks at this and he thinks that the best path forward is that Kamala is the head of the ticket. Because, by the way, people talking about an open convention, because I see this post that Pelosi talking about an open convention. There's a whole bunch of problems with this, right now.
There are all kinds of problems. And here's one of the reasons. Let me just say, one of the reasons I was really pissed off and gave Biden money this month, and recurring monthly until the election, was specifically because most of these people calling for Biden's head are not just saying, and therefore it should be Kamala. They don't want her either.
Yeah, right.
And they are looking for some scenario where they can get rid of both of them. And so the latest, there was a report since we've been recording here from the New York Times. I think I haven't read the whole article. I just saw the headline where Pelosi is now also saying that assuming Joe Biden drops out, she would be in favor of an open convention. And look, I recognize that maybe you don't want a pure coronation of Harris. Like it looks better if you have some sort of process, but at the same time, it's got to be fucking Harris. If you go with anybody else, you will rip. I mean, you're already ripping the goddamn Democratic Party apart and demoralizing everybody through this whole thing. If you push Joe Biden out against his will and then put anybody in this spot other than Harris, you're going to have open warfare inside the Democratic Party, and you're almost guaranteeing a loss in November. I'm sorry, because I mean, you're right. Like, lots of people are like Yvonne and I will basically vote for any Democrat on the fucking ticket because, of course, they're going to be better than Trump. But at the same time, you need to excite people and you need to get them out there. And if you do something like push Joe Biden out, when there are lots of people who still want him there, and then you push Harris out, who seems like the natural successor, and lots of people would want her, and you go with some other random jackass, then yeah, there are going to be lots of demoralized people, and motivating them to vote is not necessarily going to be easy, and you're going to have a lot of people who are pissed off. And I would hope that most of them would vote D anyway in the end, but you're ripping everything to shreds. I mean, like, one of the things I saw, like, people are talking about potentially a Whitman Shapiro, not Whitman, Whitmer. Whitman's different.
I'm like, Whitman, Jesus Christ, not that woman.
Whitmer Shapiro.
She's a Republican, that's why I'm saying.
Yeah. But Whitmer Shapiro, because then you get Whitmer's Michigan, I believe, and Shapiro's Pennsylvania. They're the governors of those two
That's
states.
insanity.
And but those are two critical states that you need to win. If you get those two governors on a ticket together, then maybe you win those two states and it changes those dynamics, right? Like, there are a bunch of things that people have said along those kinds of lines. Whereas, like, I mean, I've been watching, on election graphs, obviously, I've been tracking all the state polls, and there had been very sparse Harris versus Trump polling. But of course, over the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot more of it. And practically with every new poll that comes out, the Biden situation, I mean, the Harris situation starts converging with the existing Biden situation.
Right. It's no different.
It starts getting closer and closer. It's like, at the moment on election graphs, I still show Harris as being slightly better off than Biden, but that's only because the polls haven't fully fleshed out yet with, like, good new data, right? I am almost convinced that if you did that immediate swap, there wouldn't be, it's not the miraculous, oh my God, now she's ahead by 10 points.
No,
I mean, I guess the argument is maybe she does start out behind. Maybe she does start out behind by just as much as Joe, but she's got more energy to catch up than Joe Biden does. But again, like, you hear more and more. There was this hour-long live stream AOC did on all the reasons she's for Joe Biden and thinks it would be a bad idea to change candidates at this point. And look, she wasn't the biggest Joe Biden fan in the world.
No, but you know what? I mean, damn it. She made one of the best damn arguments in there for the reason why this is idiotic. And it's the same argument you and I have been making.
Go for it.
What I'm saying,
make the argument. So what was the argument that you liked?
Well, I did not see the whole live stream, but the whole point is what you.
I read a summary. Right, I did not watch it. I did not have an extra hour.
It's this entire thing that it's no simple solution right now. You don't have anybody that you can fucking put in there that's going to replace it. That's going to just, like you mentioned, they're not getting magic lead. This isn't like some magic bullet solution that we've got somebody out there that is just going to go in there and just take the lead now that Biden is in there. I mean, it's just, that's all sheer nonsense. And by the way, and the other thing that I know that AOC has said repeatedly right now is that, you know what, man, this guy has done a lot of the shit that she wanted to, and made a lot of progress on things that those groups have been wanting. He has been a big champion of their things. We're talking about income inequality, rights, student debt, all this shit.
And Bernie Sanders said the same thing, by the way, in a couple interviews this week. And so the sort of progressive side of the party, like, the elected advocates for the progressive side of the party recognize this. That maybe he doesn't agree with them on anything, on everything, but he has accomplished more for their goals than anybody else has. But the other things that she mentioned, and I've heard a lot of people say, is all of these people who are talking about a change, who are not willing to just say, okay, well then obviously it's Harris, are not, like, if you ask them what their plan is, who are they going to put up? What's the process going to be?
Plan.
They have nothing. It's just like the magical substitute. Like we're gonna pick the magical Democrat off the shelf who's going to be strong, and we want an open process to do it because, well, obviously it's not Kamala Harris.
Fuck. I mean, Pelosi herself has said it. And by the way, you and I talked about this week on with the rest of the slackers.
On the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack, which there'll be instructions at the end. You should join. Anybody listening who's not on there, you should join. Okay, go ahead.
That this whole thing with Adam Schiff going out and saying what the fuck he said was a fucking shiv job. It was just this was shit. This was shit.
This whole thing, by the way, and I've said this on the show before, and I'm going to reiterate it now. Yes, the debate was damaging, but all of this stuff since the debate has been way more damaging. Like, and I understand, like, I'm not asking anybody to sort of pretend that he had a good night, but at the same time, all of this weeks now, we're more than 3 weeks past the debate at this point. And there has been nothing but shitting on Joe Biden. This does not help the Democratic cause at all.
And not just, that, but those 3 weeks, all you guys said, hey, he needs to go and speak in public. Hey, he needs to be unscripted.
And then he did, and he did fine.
And then he did. And he didn't do just fine. He did very well. Okay? Yes. And one thing that's a little bit upsetting me is that his team should not have had him as, I know why they were keeping him close to the vest.
But they should have had him out there all along.
They should have had him out there all along. Even with the flubs. Whatever. Yes, he does the flubs. Fuck the whatever. Fucking own him. Whatever. He did great. Like when he flubbed Zelensky and he called all them drunk. They were like laughing it up. It's like perfect. Whatever. It's like, that's fine.
Yeah, own it.
Whatever.
But here's the only.
But my whole point is that their whole thing was, well, that's the way he is. He's senile. He's done. He's dead. He's whatever. And then he goes and he shows you very clearly where he had a fucking entire press conference, unscripted, talking in depth about very complex subjects, did so very well. And you guys are still like, well, now he's behind in the polls. Well, okay, great. He's behind the polls. Maybe you wouldn't be so fucking far behind the polls if you motherfuckers were all just standing there shoulder to shoulder with him, showing support instead of fucking shitting on him.
Yes. Instead of stabbing him in the back. Basically.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not all about loyalty. Like, I would throw out loyalty in a second if there was a good reason. And so the only justification for all this that I could see is if personally they have direct knowledge that for reasons that make sense that they will not speak of publicly, where in their one-to-one experiences with Joe Biden, they in fact do see the confused, addled Joe Biden who isn't capable of doing.
And by the way, none of these people have said that.
Well, no, and I understand why they wouldn't say it out loud.
No. But listen, bullshit. At this point, with the shit that they have said, they would have.
They might as well.
Yeah, come on. They would have said so.
And I don't know. Maybe not. But like, if that's what's going on behind the scenes, like if they end up pushing him out through this process, I want to see that, because I don't think the public evidence is enough to justify what we've seen here. Like, I know people are nervous about him being behind in the polls, but like, he was behind not in an unrecoverable position. And I know that I know the fear is like, if what happened at debate happens again and again, and his situation gets worse and worse over the next few months, then we're done. So we have to cut the cord now. But again, like, I feel like absent the true evidence of that, like, this is hurting more than it helps. Like you know, and I know there are all kinds of polls. Like, one of the issues that has all these Congress people and governors and even like that are in tough districts for re-election is that there are a bunch of polls that came out, the private polls apparently, that said specifically that if you, as a senatorial candidate, continue to defend Joe Biden, it will make people think you are a liar and untrustworthy and make them less likely to vote for you as well.
Yeah, well, I think that's a bunch of bullshit, because especially I've seen how these polls are being posed with the questions that they are making that aren't exactly that. But here's another thing. You're saying, well, you're endangering the House and the Senate.
Yes.
Fuck, man. I just saw all the generic polls right now for the generic ballot have the D's still ahead.
Well, and one of the arguments people are making about Joe Biden being bad is that he's running behind the senatorial candidates.
That's not...
Which means they're still doing better than him, so...
Exactly, so what the fuck? So he's not dragging them down either. I don't... None of the facts that they keep bringing up are add up, you know, in any way. Because if you showed me, okay, great, the Democrats are 7 points behind in the generic ballot for the House, then you're like, oh fuck, well, that's bad, okay? But the last time around, this is around where they were. Actually, the last numbers I saw, they're better than they were, and you guys are trying to argue to me that we're going to have a completely different effect, and you're saying that this is based on facts. Well, the facts don't support what the fuck you're selling me. So I don't get it. I don't get these arguments. These are all emotional. I'm freaked out that Trump might win. That's all I see in this is a complete freak out that, you know, that Trump might win.
And look, the AOC in her hour-long video apparently gave a bunch of concerns and reasons and things to think about. One of which is, that has been reported elsewhere, Republicans are already preparing legal challenges all over the place if the Democrats nominate someone other than Biden.
That is an issue.
Because, like, and basically, I mean, technically speaking, like, the Democrats haven't chosen a candidate yet, and all of the states are in place that, like, to expect the candidates to be chosen at the conventions. So that shouldn't be an issue. However, they're prepping all kinds of, like, sympathetic Republican secretaries of state who are receptive to challenges that say, hey, people voted for this guy in the primary, but that's not who you're putting up, so that's not right. And you've got judges all through the system that are now potentially receptive. So you just don't know what's going to happen in those challenges. At the very least, there's going to be mischief made. Like, at the very, even if they fail, you know, there's...
Sam, you know,
yes.
What? Can you imagine if all this fucking energy that is spent in this circular firing squad had been spent in battling Trump?
Yeah.
What the results would be? Because
huge missed opportunity.
Ridiculous missed opportunity.
And not just a missed opportunity where instead of doing something helpful, you are harming the cause. And again, the only way I can mentally justify it is that if they have private knowledge that Joe Biden is much worse off than anything we have seen in public so far. That's the only possible justification that I could see for this, because otherwise, even if, like in any scenario, whether you end up keeping Joe Biden, whether you replace him with Kamala Harris, or whether you replace him with someone else, the process of doing this change has hurt the cause.
Now, here's the one thing I will say that has hurt, like, right now. Look, we're in July. Okay?
Yes.
It's not November. All right. It's not October. It's not September. It's not like anything that has happened right now is irreparable. I really truly believe
that is
absolutely
true. Although lots of people have pointed out, by the way, early vote ballots start going out in mid-September. So it's not,
no. Well, but you've got
it's not as far away as we think.
But that's still the ballots that go out that early is a very tiny percentage.
I know, but they build dramatically starting in September, it's not like the old days where like 90% of the vote is on election day. There's a lot of early voting.
Well,
but not a lot of September voting. Absolutely,
not a lot of September voting. But what I'm saying is, we're still in fucking July. It's not. It's July 19th still. As July 20th UTC as we're recording this. It's not exactly like we're still in a place where all of this is irreparable. But it's just silly. Right now at this point, it's silly. These guys, if they really wanted to have replaced Biden, I'm sorry, but the moment was. You wanted to mount a primary challenge. Nobody went to mount a primary challenge. Okay.
Well, to be clear, the entire party apparatus discouraged it. That one congressman did run in the primaries, did miserably, but
they did miserably. But
at that point,
but any of the, I'm talking about any of these fucking senior clowns now. Like,
no, I know. At that point a year ago, they were all against it.
Exactly. So don't give me this shit. That was the fucking moment for this horse shit. Not
well,
now.
Of course they would say we have new information now. Joe Biden has deteriorated since then.
Bullshit. And that's not even what the fuck they're arguing. Let's be clear about this. None of these people are arguing that. They're just saying, hey, but Joe, look at the polls you're gonna lose. We need to replace you. That's what they're saying.
Well, and
without any viable plan.
Without a viable plan, without just jumping on and saying, okay, we want Kamala. And honestly, and going back to your description of it as a political shiv job, it honestly, a good deal of this looks like people positioning themselves for the future who don't want a future where Kamala is the heir apparent. Whether it's now, yes, whether it's now or in 2028.
Think about it. Well, because think about it. For these guys, say it's Kamala, and maybe she wins re-election. You know what the fuck that means? That means that all of a sudden you're throwing a window out. These fuckers are thinking 8 years from now. Then you're talking about a window of 20
or 10.
Christ, what fuck? 2032
or 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
like because you would have potentially the rest of Biden's second term, then 2 terms of Kamala.
12 years, yeah.
And so they're thinking like, hey, and I'm complete speculation here, but it's just they're looking at, hey, if we get both of these two guys out of the way, then one of us can be president sooner,
right?
And
that thinking is just as fucking craven, and
whether it's one of them being the candidate now, or whether it's one of them being the candidate in 2028.
And I'm like, Pelosi's behavior and all this, I'm just like, what? I said, and I'm going to tell you right now, she's still bitter because, look, she didn't really leave. She got pushed out. It was a nice push out, but she got pushed out.
Well, at the same time, like what's his name? Jeffries is like her protege. She works with him all the time. Like she's been mentoring him. So I don't think, I mean, maybe she's a little upset by that, but at the same time, also, by the way, this whole exercise has shown that she retains a massive amount of power anyway.
Oh, fuck yeah. For sure.
But yeah, like this, I'm just have been so angry this whole week about this, how this has all been playing out.
I will say this, that these people need to fucking get together in a fucking meeting and fucking just enough of this shit. Hash it out, get it over with, come out unified and end this, which I thought was going to the last time they had a meeting.
Well, except the way it's happening apparently is like all of these congressional leaders have determined that they will not accept "I am staying" as an answer from Joe Biden. And so they're
And
going to
Biden, and Joe
continue
Biden
this.
has gone,
till they-
and Joe Biden, I understand why, pissed off and said, listen, you all go fuck yourselves.
Now, again, there are reports that he may be dropping out as early as this weekend. So it's very possible that by the time I even put out this episode, Joe Biden's out. You know,
I hear it, and I'm like,
because the reports are he's softening, he's considering it. It's now not a question of if, but a question of when and how. And so they're negotiating the timing of him dropping out and what the process will be to pick the replacement. That kind of stuff is going on now, according to those reports.
Listen, my scenarios are either this: either you circle the wagons and you stay with the guy, or you have a properly solid plan B, whatever the fuck that is. Okay?
And the plan should not be, let's go have a contentious fight at the convention that leaves everybody pissed off.
Yeah.
And look, I've heard people argue that no, a robust debate at the convention and will leave everybody excited.
Well, look, listen, there is an argument to be made for that. I don't discount that. Okay. Look, I went and I shared, a couple of weeks ago the story about what the hell happened with Truman.
You spent a few last week's show. You talked extensively about Truman.
Yeah, and it was like that. It was a complete shit show, but yet Truman wound up winning. So, I mean, listen, there is a possibility that scenario could be a winning scenario, but the reality is that and the fact that we don't have any real history with this. I don't see how the hell this. I'm having trouble seeing it that way. I really think that it becomes a very corrosive event.
Yes, I agree. I feel like we've got. What's that?
Now it could draw a lot more, but at the same time, look. Reality TV being what it is, what the hell? We talked about how nobody pays attention to the conventions, right?
Oh, hell, people would pay attention.
Oh, fuck.
Like if that was going on.
Listen, I haven't watched a convention, any of these fucking conventions in years. Look, if we're going to an open convention, I've got this thing on wall to wall.
We've like dreamed of this scenario for like every 4 years. We've talked about maybe this year we'll have a broker convention.
The broker convention. So we've talked about it. So I mean, okay. I mean, shit.
There's no question it would be exciting television. But
and there is no question that the audience paying attention would be enormous. So but man. I mean, this. It feels like way riskier than any of the other paths.
And I think everybody is underestimating that risk. I mean, because if you have a technically open convention, but Kamala Harris is the only real candidate and everybody consolidates around her almost immediately, okay, that's one scenario. But if you really have a contentious process where you've got like 5 or 6 candidates and multiple ballots and people arguing and people getting really passionate about their candidates, you're just going to end the process with a lot of bruised feelings and unhappy people, especially, and I've heard this over and over and again from people in the Congressional Black Caucus and from, the Black community and Black women in particular, that if you fuck over Kamala Harris.
Oh man. Yeah.
There's so many people who will be so pissed off in a absolutely critical demographic group for the Democrats.
Absolutely.
You cannot, if you go through this process and fuck over Kamala Harris, you are screwing over the whole election cycle. Is it possible you would still win? Maybe, but you are definitely hurting things, and people will not forget.
Oh God, no. Hell no.
Like, even if you end up pulling out a win, blah, 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 people will not forget that you screwed her over.
No, they're not.
And it's not like, look, let's be real here too. Like, the vice president is always in the running for the presidency after the end of their president's term, but they're not automatic. You don't assume that they will always be the candidate.
Not always, but man, it's been.
But usually,
Reagan wound up with with
Bush,
H.W. Bush,
and we had
Clinton
President
wound
Quayle.
up Gore, President Quayle. And that would have been hilarious.
Yes.
Who was? No, Darth Vader didn't run for president.
No, Cheney did not run. But but
of course he's running on a fucking. He was literally Darth Vader by that time.
If Joe Biden 2 years ago had said, "I'm not running," there would have been an open process, and Kamala would not have automatically gotten that.
Correct.
But she might have gotten it. She might have won that process. But at that point, you would have expected a whole bunch of people to throw their hats into the ring and a competitive process and primary debates and then the whole primary process and blah, blah, blah. You would have expected all that, and she may or may not have won that process. But at this point, if Joe Biden leaves, it's got to be her. It's got to be her. And there's some question about they're trying to push, Joe Biden to get out, but not to endorse her. They're trying to push Joe Biden to get out, but have this open process at the convention where everybody can do things. And even those people sort of admit, well, Kamala Harris would be the front runner, but they don't want to just come out right out and say, hey, we want Kamala, Right. And I look, and I am immediately suspicious of any of these jackasses who are pushing for Joe Biden to get out, if they don't include in the same damn breath, and we've got Kamala, then I question their motives right off the top. And also someone posted a little graphic of all of the Congress people who had come out asking for Joe Biden to leave as of a day ago. So there've been more since then, but almost all of them were white men.
Gee.
There were a few that weren't. And the first member of the Congressional Black Caucus to come out to say Joe should leave came out today in the last 24 hours. But for the most part, no, it's anyway, it just pisses me off. Now, at this point, just to be clear, if all the rumors are true and Joe Biden is coming into the acceptance phase, and now they're just trying to figure out when and how for him to drop out, I am ready to get excited about Kamala Harris. I think yes, absolutely. She's got a lot of good things for her, and especially in the last few weeks, she has really been putting on a good performance. And for the last year, she's been putting on a good performance. There are lots of people who talked about how bad she did a job in the vice presidency, and she didn't take care of that immigration scenario she was put in charge of, and blah, blah, blah. She has been doing a damn good job for vice president. And once we've been in campaign mode for the last few months, she's been an exceptional advocate. She's been giving really rousing speeches to people. She has been pushing the abortion argument. She's been the designated person in the campaign to really hammer home the abortion stuff, and she's been doing a good job at that. I am ready to get excited about Kamala Harris if we do a switch.
But I'm going to tell you what. Whatever the fuck happens, it needs to be decided this fucking week. This cannot.
It needed to be decided. I mean, it needed to be decided already. And frankly, one of the things that pisses me off is it was decided. Joe Biden came out there. He issued a letter. He issued multiple statements saying, no, I recognize your concern, but I'm in. I've got this. The decision was made. All of every single thing.
Let me be clear. Not maybe the decision made, but that these jokers had to accept the decision. Okay, there you go.
Well, it wasn't the decision they wanted. It wasn't a decision they were willing to accept. The only decision they were willing to accept from Joe Biden is I'm out. And that's part of what pissed me off is that, we've got a limited time to make the decision. Sorry, the decision was already made by the person who needs to make the decision.
Yeah, suck it up.
So,
That's
you may not agree with that decision, but that's the decision. It was made. And everything that's been done since that moment that Joe Biden, after the debate, put out a statement saying, I understand your concern, but I'm staying. Everything since then has been hurting the chances of the Democrats actually catching up and winning in this election. And that pisses me off no end. And like you said, like they seem to still not be taking no for an answer. And at this point, I'm not sure if they will accept anything else up until the very moment that the delegates vote, which, oh, by the way, like I'd mentioned on last week's show that they were going to start the virtual balloting on the 21st. That has now been delayed, probably till like around August 6th, if it happens at all. And that's because Schumer and Jeffries both advocated for it to be delayed, because they don't want the vote locked in, because once it's locked in, it becomes much harder. Like the process of Joe dropping out after he's officially the nominee, I mean, it's already hard. It becomes even harder after that, you know, and more legal implications and more that has to be done and blah, 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 blah. And so like the fact that this is stretched out 3 weeks and they won't drop it. And again, if they have private knowledge that is not public, that Joe's condition is much worse than anything we've seen publicly, okay, I can understand.
Okay, but then they
that
need
needs
to make
come
that
out.
public. Right.
Yeah. That needs to come out. Like if you're going to do this, and I recognize you may not want to, like, you feel like that's publicly stabbing him in the back, but so is everything else.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I've been stabbing in the back with everything the fuck else. Give me a fucking break.
Because at least if that kind of information was public, and look, there were a few news stories with anonymous sources that did in fact say exactly what I just said, that it is worse privately, and that lots of people have confirmed that Joe is more like what he saw in the debate than what we've seen everywhere else. But there are these anonymous background sources.
Exactly. None of those were with anybody going on the record saying any of this shit. And most of the stuff that they were saying that he was worse, was this kind of shit that was like the generic stuff. Well, you know, he sounded bad. Well, he didn't talk a lot at this meeting. It was all just shit stories. It wasn't, you know. No, it was just a lot of,
and again, and no one cares, no one cares. But every single one of these things, Donald Trump is just as bad or worse.
Oh God, he's worse.
You know,
he's worse.
I mean, he didn't look quite as weak at that one debate where Joe Biden was sick, but you know.
But other than that, I mean, that fucking speech last night, everybody was saying, "Oh my God, what the fuck?"
Yeah. Now, again, though, you're absolutely right that this. Every day the shit goes on is harmful. And I recognize all these congressional Democrats don't want to accept Joe Biden's answer, but every day they're pushing it is hurting the situation. And again, they don't have an alternative lined up. They can't articulate a plan that is definitively any better. Like, yeah, we can flip to Kamala Harris, but I can't say with any level of confidence that we'd be in a better spot after that.
And I mean, listen, I will tell you this right now. If you told me that the polling showed Kamala was up, like
she was kicking everyone's ass,
like she was kicking it, she was kicking Biden's ass. She was kicking Trump's ass. You see,
you did it too. You did it too.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We all need to be wheeled off into the old people's home.
Yeah. You know, if she was kicking ass, okay, if she was like 10 points ahead of where Biden is, okay, then I would be, look, I will say flat out, I would be like, fuck.
That's where, like, you know, I've seen people argue that, like, we're not a cult of personality like Republicans. We shouldn't be like all about loyalty. And I'm not all about loyalty. If you had the situation that you just outlined where it was absolutely clear that Kamala Harris or even somebody else would actually do much better.
There's only one that's polled that we know is demonstrably better. But she's not going to fucking run for president.
Michelle Obama.
It's Michelle Obama. Now, if you told me that Michelle is coming in and going to take over, and I know what the polling data says, then I'd be like, shit, okay, look, we have to do this. We got no choice.
Well,
okay?
I would also argue that even if, like, let's say Michelle Obama did agree to that and was in, I think as soon as she transitions from being a theoretical person to an actual person,
yes, that narrows a whole ton. Yes,
because all of a sudden she will get attacked. All of a sudden she will have actual positions.
Yes.
All of a sudden people will be looking at her actual experience, not just, hey, the charismatic wife of a popular ex-president.
Well, let's not be. Hey, she is a fucking Harvard graduated lawyer. She's very.
She administered a hospital system,
exactly.
whatever. I forget.
Yeah.
She is a very capable woman. Okay,
yeah, exactly. She's not. Let me clear. She's not Melania. Okay, she wasn't just some fucking model on airplanes. No. Okay. All right.
She's very capable, but of the traditional things, she hasn't been a senator, she hasn't been a governor, whatever.
Whatever.
Neither was Donald fucking
Neither
Trump.
was exactly. She's a bazillion times smarter and more capable than that bastard will ever be. That's for sure.
Right. So anyway, I guess we should wrap it up. We are once again
we need to wrap it up.
Long. Any efforts to keep the show short fail utterly. We need to bring back the fucking bell and the timer and all that crap that we had a couple years ago.
My cleaning lady hit my bells. The hell are my bells? Where are my fucking bells?
Here's a bell.
There you go. You got a bell. Where the fuck are my bells?
Here's another bell.
Oh, there. I got a bell. Here we go. Bell. There are bells. All right, let's wrap this thing up.
Okay, so having said all that.
All right, you want my concluding remarks?
Oh, concluding remark. I was just going to say, hopefully by the time with Biden, or Biden drops out and we're not still talking about the drama. Okay, go ahead.
My concluding remarks. Fuck all these people. I'm so sick and tired of them. They can all go fuck themselves. Let's just gather around Biden and go fucking beat this asshole.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. With that, the stuff at the end of the show, curmudgeon-corner.com. Wait. Yes, Alex? Quick. We're trying to wrap it up. Quick. Okay. Is like a few seconds. Okay, I'm gonna hit play on the thing that Alex has queued up.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
Okay, yeah, very excited.
That was a clip from Blapature episode 20, which was episode 110 on alexemzela.com.
So very not exciting.
Okay. So I don't know exactly what was happening there. I'll make sure the yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'll go to curmudgeon-corner.com. There you'll find the archives of our show, including transcripts on more recent shows. You will find all the ways to contact us: Facebook, Mastodon, email. What else will you find, Yvonne? Our
links,
Patreon.
Our Patreon. Yeah. Patreon. Yeah.
You can give us money at various levels. We'll mention you on the show. We'll ring the bells for you. We will send you a postcard. We will send you a mug, all that. Very importantly, at $2 a month or more, we will, what will we do, Yvonne? Oh, we will invite you to our Curmudgeon's Corner Slack, where throughout the week, Yvonne and I and various listeners are sharing links and chatting about the news and chatting about other things and sharing Wordle scores, everything. It's a lot of fun. You should join us if you're not there already. So, Yvonne, what was one thing from the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack this week that we have not talked about on the show?
Fuck, I was just about to talk about something and I realized that I can't talk about this. I'm sorry. I have to very on the fly change the subject.
Pick something else. Pick something else.
Yeah.
Was confidential information? No confidential information allowed.
No.
If you want to know the confidential things, apparently you
have to go on the
Slack.
Well, the one thing I shared, there's a New Yorker cartoon showing J.D. Vance that I shared, and the caption read, "And again, sir, I'm so sorry that I called you America's Hitler, and so relieved that you took it as a compliment." So that was
exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to switch on the fly. I was going to say something else, but I can't
say something you shouldn't say.
Yeah. There is another thing that we shared is that there are these new Trump sneakers that are released that have apparently a picture of Trump bloody with a U.S. flag with him saying "fight, fight, fight" on the side of it. Look, they look amazing, of course. Yeah, I think I also shared that there was a trading card almost issued immediately. It's amazing. There were so many grifts that came right after the shooting attempt like that. It was like, within 48 hours, they had merch, okay, that was like just, of the shooting. It's just incredible how these guys just are monetizing everything. It's not like the Democrat, if we were that creative as Democrats, we would have an image and we were to try to monetize Biden's bad debate performance somehow. I don't know what we could do with it, but some kind of like a voice generator, like raspy, like
like you two can sound like a confused old man.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, it's obviously easy for both of us, Yvonne, but
we do it. We do it very well apparently every week.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's it. That's all I got. Yeah.
Sorry, okay, so I have one more thing to mention.
Okay, one more thing.
It is my intent that when I edit this show, before I put it out, I will do some things a little bit differently than I have in other recent episodes. I'm just changing some stuff around to see how it goes. So I would like to know from anybody who's made it this far in the show, please tell if you're on the Slack, tell us on the Slack. If you're not, go to the website and contact me in one of those ways. And tell me first, did you even notice a difference at all? And yes or no. And then if yes, do you like it better or worse than before? And the answer may well be no. You don't even notice a difference. But if you do notice a difference, tell me if you like it or not. We'll see. I want to try something different with the editing process and want to get feedback. And depending on that feedback, I'll either do it again or I won't. So,
okay.
And I won't say what those changes are because I don't want to bias anybody towards what I will or will not do. But let me know. Okay. Well, with that, we're done. Thank you everybody for joining us. As usual, stay safe. Have a good have a good week. And we'll plan to be here again next week. Oh, and I should mention, we tested it last week for the first time, and we did it again this week. And I'm going to keep doing it for a little while to just see. But we've been live streaming while we're recording. And so if you're interested in that at all, you can go to us on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and search on Curmudgeon's Corner, but we're not the only Curmudgeon's Corner on YouTube. There are at least 3 Curmudgeon's Corners on YouTube. We're the one that's curmudgeon-corner. But if you want to go to it directly, it's youtube.com/@curmudgeons-corner. Because if you leave out the at sign, it goes to one of the other Curmudgeon's Corners. It's stupid and weird. It goes to a Curmudgeon's Corner without the hyphen, but like whatever. Anyway, you can check it out on YouTube for video versions of the podcast on live streaming. If you want to catch us while we're actually live, I am posting that we've gone live when we go live on Mastodon, on the Curmudgeon's Corner Mastodon account. So if you don't follow that, you can follow it and start finding that out, or just guess. We're usually around Friday evening around 2 UTC, but it varies week to week. Anyway, have a great week. Have fun, but not too much fun. And we'll see what happens next week. I expect it's going to be another crazy week full of news. I think we're in for a roller coaster ride from until November, or hell, probably till January. So, yeah. Okay. Bye, everybody. Here comes the outro. Say goodbye, Yvonne.
Bye.
You're supposed to, the routine from, way back in, when was it?
You're like 20s. Really just dragging this ending out. I've never
I say
drag out an ending for like any longer than this, for God's sakes. I mean,
when I say goodbye, Yvonne, you're supposed to say goodbye, Yvonne, because that's part of the, what was it? Gracie, what's her, what was the guy with Gracie, the old guy?
I don't fucking know.
The guy who played God, who was,
George Burns.
George and Gracie, like their radio show back before television. George Burns and his wife Gracie, he'd say goodbye, Gracie, and she'd say goodbye, Gracie, and that's how they ended their shows.
Okay.
Don't you remember
this fucking thing?
Weren't you around in the golden days of radio?
Christ! I mean, this, George Burns on the radio. What is this like? It's before I was born.
It was probably before our parents were born. I don't know, but
Jesus.
Like it was a long time ago. It was like the 30s or something, maybe the 40s. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. Look up. Go to Wikipedia. I'm not going to look up when George Burns and Gracie Allen had their show on the radio. Anyway, here's the outro. Have fun. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, now I'm hitting stop.